I'm on a break from class and I had to record this, so I already dedicated myself to being fully transparent and authentic about this next journey of my life. And something obviously that I'm dealing with is relationships. Just for context, and it is recently, so it's the end of February 2025. I was in an almost 3-year relationship that ended, like official breakup, August. Obviously, you know how that goes when you're with somebody for that long. The love is strong. You kind of do this back and forth thing, especially if you struggle with telling people no, and if you struggle with establishing boundaries. And so that's what we were doing, which from this point on, no situationships. We are either together with intention to marry or not, because that's what I know the Lord has called me into. And I say that I'm not saying that the Lord's called me into marriage because I deeply desire love, which I do. I know the Lord has called me to be a mother. I've always known that. And through his order, because he's called me to be a mother, I know I will be a wife. But with that being said, my most recent romantic endeavor, I emotionally ended it yesterday, but I haven't spoken to the young man since Saturday. And we had plans to today's Monday for context. We had plans to hang out yesterday, and I didn't hear from him. And this is what I want to remind women of, all my sisters who are learning to love themselves and who want love and who are intentionally or unintentionally or subconsciously searching for it. When anyone shows you who they are, believe them. Especially in regards to romantic context, I think women have this habit of making excuses when men were honest. I've come to learn that men are pretty simple. Though they might not be the best communicators, they're pretty simple. And so I'm in a stage of life now where if a man says, hey, I'm this way, or hey, I do this, or hey, I handle myself like this, I'm not going to judge. I'm going to watch, observe, and then ask myself, is this something that I could handle? Is this a part of the skill set and the qualities and the characteristic that I want for my husband? If the answer is no, I'm going to challenge myself to move on. So I should have to say the young man I was dealing with, and I struggle with this too, which is why I can understand, but he expressed from the beginning that he's not the best responder, or he there's a lack of urgency in his responses, which I thought I was okay with, because the relationship previously before that, I was made to feel bad for being busy. And it really frustrated me because I wasn't busy out of selfishness. I was busy out of trying to chase my goals. And so this time around, towards the beginning, his lack of urgency felt like an understanding and appreciation for my hard work and my busyness. But I've come to find out that even though this is something that I'm personally working on, right, which is where I'm like, okay, there can't be too much pointing the finger and condemnation, I also still understand what my expectations from a potential romantic partner are. And so the lack of urgency makes me feel invalidated and unimportant and like I'm on the back burner. Which, like I said, these are all good lessons, because this is something that I have done and still do every now and then. So it's always good to see it's always good to see a reflecting moment. But taking me aside, because I also have had a tendency in the past to minimize what somebody has done in a reflection of my own faults. And I think as women, as black women, we have to learn to differentiate the two. But I say all that to say, even though he communicated with me before, right, that this was not an area he was strong in the moment I accepted it. And I think past me would have had this unrealistic idealization that I can fix him, or the more time we spend together, he's going to want to do better for me. And I think as women, we have this tendency to complain when men have been honest, or we ask for the truth, and when we get the truth, we don't like it. So I challenge you that when a man is vulnerable enough to be honest with you, or real enough to show his true self, and not love bomb and fool you at the beginning, with all these acts of love, and then his real self come, sit back and observe and get to know him for the person that he is, and then ask yourself, do I actually like him? Don't try to build him up to be this person that you want him to be, because resentment forms on both parties. I think relationships would be so much better if we generally took the time to get to know somebody and then let the growth happen organically and naturally. And this is a disclaimer, I do not think this young man is horrible by any means. Like, he has done very sweet and romantic things for me in this time that we have been reconnecting, and also given me or revitalized something in me that I needed coming out of my last relationship, because full transparency, it left me very heartbroken, very insecure, and just clouded about my identity as a woman and as my potential as a love partner. But I say this to say, and if we do have the opportunity to speak, I want to vocalize it like this. I'm not angry at the fact that he did what he did, because in essence it's not surprising. My feelings are hurt because in the time that we have spent, I felt that he would have respected me enough to at least communicate and not ghost me or leave me hanging. But I understand, because I am recovering from heartbreak, and a heartbreak that sent me into a depression that to this day, even earlier this week is my birthday week, past weekend, as you guys know, just remnants of that, of those spirits are still, and were still running on me. So I understand I'm trying to overcome a depleted social battery that I think is a root or a result of depression. At the same time, prioritizing my desolate space with the Lord and learning how to gracefully say no. So just a reminder that if you're dating, and dating intentionally, dating with expectations and hopes, I challenge you to get to know somebody for who they are, instead of pounding them or trying to mold them from the beginning into who you want them to become. I challenge you to get to know who they are, and then ask yourself, is this somebody that I can really see myself with? I challenge you to stop expecting yourself out of other people, because I think the beauty in partnership is that you're not dating yourself. And if you are expecting yourself in other people, I think that is a sign that you still need to take time to learn who you are, what you like, and also learn how to operate with others. Never lower your standards. And I challenge us to cut the tie early. I think, as an older sister, as a older daughter, as somebody who was forced to grow up younger, who was given responsibilities younger, as a black woman, and I emphasize that because I think we're this strong persona, this help persona, this fight till you can't fight anymore mentality is imposed on us early, and it creates a superwoman mentality. In response, when navigating relationships, it's not your job to save everybody. It's not your job to build a man. As a woman, it's not your job to how do I want to word it? Get somebody to see how they should be. Take the information for what it is. And I will say, one thing I did do is, I will mention, because I think we have to break down this stigma of if a man could, he will, which is a different conversation for a different day. I think that there are some things that as a man he should be able to naturally observe, and other things as a woman we have to put our pride aside and vocalize. If someone has never met you, they might not know that you like thriller movies unless you guys have watched multiple thriller movies together. Do you see what I'm saying? So there are some things, like if you come into my room and you see I have a green pillow, I wear green jewelry, my AirPod case is green, a man could assume that I like green. But you would never know unless I told you that I actually hate roses, but I love chrysanthemums. Or I actually really love Pandora and I hate Gucci. You see what I'm saying? So I challenge us that when we are navigating these spaces, I think a healthy space to operate in is plants a seed, and a fruitful seed, one without attitude. One thing I mentioned before I'm passing, and I said it just like this. I was like, hey, I was like, I'm not going to demand more of your time because we're busy, but I would appreciate more of your attention. I'm like, because sometimes when we're in the hustle or bustle and I don't feel attended to, it makes me feel small. I said it like that, and I watched to see if he put forth an effort to, she mentioned before that my lack of responsiveness bothers her, so let me adjust it. And he definitely was more communicative, and I could see that there was an effort and intention. But I also think sometimes it's okay if what you expect generally goes against how somebody else is. That's why I say get to know somebody. I'm very appreciative that he challenged himself. But let's just say he's simply not a responsive person, and that might work for somebody, but it just simply does not work for me. So yes, I am sad about it, especially because the timing was poor. Like, you did it on my birthday weekend, so it hurt my feelings. But I praise and I thank God, because I've asked God. I'm very serious about this next season of my life, especially with the intention to move with him. And so the things that are going to serve as a distraction, whether it hurts, whether I agree, whether I disagree, whether it's hard for me to let go of or easy, remove it like that. And that's what he's doing. So we praise God for lessons. We praise God for growth, and just sending love and comfort to my sister who might be going through something similar. Know your worth, my love, and learn to love yourself. Learn to value your solitude, and pray and reflect on, if you feel the call to be a wife, then you pray that the Lord brings you your husband, and he'll do exactly that. And love entails heartbreak, but we persist through. So love you all. Stay blessed. I might check in later tonight. If not, I'll check in later tomorrow. But in the meantime, bye for now.